All right, thank you everybody for showing up. My name is Soufia. I'm the head of DeFi for Kelp and Kernel DAO. This panel is going to be all about looping, restaking, a very hot topic in the space. So without further ado, maybe we can do a quick round of introductions from our panelists. Rob?
I'm one of the co-founders over at Ether.fi. We're a liquid restaking protocol, turning into a neobank that's not a bank, but look forward to talking to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Gaia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Byzantine Finance. We aggregate access to anything restaking, cross-chains, and cross-protocol, and make it extremely easy for institutions to access it.
My name is Drake. I am head of protocol strategy at Figment. Figment's the largest independent staking provider, serving over 700 institutional customers. We operate on 40 different blockchains and several ecosystems in the restaking world.
Hey, my name is Misha. I'm a co-founder of Symbiotic. We are a universal staking framework.
Right, well, restaking has been around now for over 2 years, and it's been making a lot of waves, especially more on the DeFi side. So maybe for those of you that are not familiar, we can start with Rob. What is an LRT? What is it? So what is its value both in yield and in sort of composability across the DeFi ecosystem?
Yeah, good question. So our asset is wrapped in ETH, and so individuals can put ETH in our protocol, and then restake it with eigenlayer, Symbiotic, Kopp, they're still making staking. And so, but the whole idea, I guess, in the ethos of this, why people started staking, I think, was increased rewards or increased yield. And so the networks or ABSs that are building on top of buildings like restaking protocols are now going to start paying rewards. Base staking yield for ETH is 3%. Our restake yields have been around like 4.2 or 4.3%. So it's really just increased yields. I think that's what the end user cares about. For the ecosystem, it's a bit different. The shared security that kind of restaked ETH gives, but I guess for the end user, what they really care about is reading about 50% higher rewards than just investing. That's the main use case.
And I think you made a really great second point, because the whole ethos of restaking, right, is that you're delegating assets, and in return you're getting rewards from these ABSs, networks, Symbiotic. How have you guys been sort of perceiving that in return? So, I mean, since Eigen launched, the only ABS that's actually been giving rewards is EigenTA. Do you feel that pressure to want to go to the infrastructure team and tell them, hey, like, something's got to give? Are you happy with the way things are going? Maybe let's start with Misha, actually. Given that you have the second for advantage with Symbiotic, have you made that a priority?
Yeah, like first we have a first mover advantage because we were the only ones to get to production, and like you don't charge fees, like, and make people pay for stuff before you get the like core functionality in place, right? Like you have a car without wheels, right? And you ask people to pay for that. So yeah, no, we like. I wish we had a second mover advantage. That was the plan, but like yeah, we kind of had to pioneer it. We actually have like rewards, networks giving rewards. We had like a bit of technical difficulties. They were ready like a week ago, but they're like come online this morning today. So yeah, networks are paying, but they need to understand that they're paying for like actual something. And we like our part of the industry was really slow to deliver like actual benefits, and we are still like in its infancy. Like both like Eigenlayer has like a lot of functionality in place right now. Us, we have like a core functionality in place, but like it's early days. It's infrastructure. It takes time, and the important part is that like our missions are like we're going from different directions, each like shared security protocol, but like the mission is kind of similar. So like a solution that gives a huge boost to UX Like you don't have to develop as much, you can launch faster, and you like will have the contracts that are audited by the best auditing firms. Like audits are like super expensive. That's like easily 1 million shaved out of like 14, 20, 15 networks. That's like already saved like dozens of billions of dollars. And I'm not talking about like the development cost and like money cost on like the speed of innovation. Nobody has that yet. Not Symbiotic, not Eigen, not like on others. In terms of like you get to a point, like you get to us, and you just need your PMF, right? You just need to develop your PMF. Everything else is taken care of, and we're best in class. I think it will take us like optimistically around like 9, 10, 12 months to actually like ship everything that we want to ship like for this wave. Like with this each shipment, the value prop of the shared security, at least in this like primitive iteration, will increase, and networks will be more and more like willing to pay for this a lot. But yeah, what we see like in symbiotic networks already paying, in EigenLayer, I think they can be persuaded at least to pay at some point. And like if everyone like every one of like their announced like 50 ABSs, none of them are paying that don't have to. Like it's a not a good signal, right? Like because like why would they pay if nobody else is paying? So the more
Right.
dominoes fall, the more like it's normalized that you need to actually pay for stuff.
I mean, what is the value of actually delegating to ABSs that will not pay? It's not rentable for LRTs or for operators. Maybe we can switch over to Figment. So we're seeing, well, slashing has kicked in right now on Eigen. You guys support Eigen. Do you support Symbiotic? You also support Symbiotic?
Not currently.
Not yet, not yet, okay. Not yet.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, sounds like you guys need to huddle.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
The one question you had to ask is a direct.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, your questions are great so
Yeah,
far.
Yeah, these are awesome. These are actually really good.
I'm really bad at having off-record conversations, okay? So how do you guys go about selecting the ABSs? What does that due diligence process look like right now?
Totally. So I think that this is a serious problem in restaking still, is that we're really good at running nodes for an infrastructure provider. We've never been slashed on 40 different chains and 8 years of operations and all of that. But fundamentally, what restaking is really pushing in a lot of ways is for node operators to be super opinionated about issues of ABSs, right? So I think that's something that I would put a point in Symbiotic's camp of the curator role, right? Where we don't want to be the ones picking and choosing ABSs. We've spoken a lot with the council about it. And it honestly feels a lot like making an investment decision on your customer's behalf. So for the LRT to make the decision, it's great. We'll spin up new networks wherever we can. We still evaluate every new network, every new ABS, or new network that we're onboarding with like a technical security framework. How do you, gracefully exit if you decide to shut it off? Slashing conditions go live that you don't like. Not every ABS or network has a good answer for that. Some you're actually not able to opt out on, but I did, which is crazy to me. But frankly, every new network we're supporting, we try to treat, whether it's an ABS, a new network, whatever, on a restaking platform, the same way we would treat a new L1 with like full in-depth diligence, monitoring, DevOps team, 24/7 support, and all that. So there's not a great answer still.
Does it make sense for you guys to develop those tools in-house or maybe use a risk curator like Chaos Labs as an example?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a risk curator. I know a lot of LRTs are working with Chaos Labs or Gauntlet or Mev Capital. There's a bunch of really great teams in that space. So ultimately, I think that is kind of where longer term most of this will fall within is those kind of hands-on DeFi risk experts making decisions.
Amazing. I'm just going to put my DeFi hat on for a second. This is why sort of having that extra yield on LRTs is so interesting when it comes to looping, is because we're able to borrow more collateral, right? So with Steth, with WETH, Ether.fi is the biggest. I think you guys have already supplied like 4 billion on Aave, continuing to grow. How important is that for you guys to get more yield, right? Because we've seen that the price of Eigen right now has fallen from $5 back in December to 0.9 now, I think. So that's not good for us LRTs. So how do you make it a mission to get your restaking infra to make that a priority, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, so two things. One, just to comment on the selection of ABSs, I actually don't think users want to do that. That's actually a pain in the ass. All they care about is what's my yield and don't lose my yield, so don't get slashed. So we really take a lot of time. There's not payments yet, but talking with Symbiotic, talking with Eigenlayer, working with our risk curators to select who we want to kind of go out, because ultimately you need the best risk-adjusted rewards. That's our goal. Have the best rewards, risk-adjusted. Don't get slashed first and foremost. If you get slashed, you're fucked, and protocol's going to zero anyway. So don't get
Very
slashed.
simply put.
Yeah,
basically.
I think it's just a really bad situation. If you lose money, that's you're going to lose. So the
Don't scare him. Slashing is for most system it's sequential. So one validator gets slashed at a time, right? Mass slashings are they're not they're possible, but they're not probable. If we're careful, so you're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
fucked. You're not fucked. The small percentage, Lido was attacked by the early fearmongers for slashing, and they're first that they had first I think they had insurance for that, and then they realized it's so non-existent that you can just socially absorb that.
totally agree.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're not fucked. You might be.
You
Just
could
a
be.
little bit. Just
Okay.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
Anyway, at Ether.fi, we think protecting capital first and foremost is the goal. So that is what we see ourselves at. And I think on that, you talk about leverage and kind of the Aave loops and whatnot. It's been a very popular trade to do Aave loops with Ether.fi amongst the DeFi whales. I think the biggest issue that DeFi has, crypto has, is bringing more capital in. Right now, it's a shell game between 500 wallets that have the capital that drives the ecosystem. And so we need to find ways to bring more capital in. So one of the things that we're doing, we have three products. We have our stake product, which is the restaking. We have our liquid products, which basically you can deposit ETH into or BTC or stables. And we have vault managers who basically get higher rewards on those said assets. And we just launched our Ether.fi credit card. So it's a Visa credit card that you can spend either stables, ETH, or BTC, or you can borrow against your ETH or BTC positions. So bringing real world use cases, I think, is actually super, super important to get more capital into crypto in more normies, I guess, is what I'll say, because a lot of people don't understand the benefits of crypto unless you start to really understand the banking infrastructure and the importance of self-custody. So making use cases that can get people in from different directions that then onboard capital into crypto, I think is super, super important. So that's something that we're focused on. You guys should all look at Ether.fi /cash. You can apply for a credit card. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. So yeah. Oh, there we go. Nice.
Can we also apply if we work at Kelp or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not haters. You get 3% cash back for anything you buy. So yeah, we're approved in 100 countries. So anyway,
What's the monthly limit for cashback?
$1,000. So that's 30,000 in spend. Yeah. See.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And no,
Big
no,
congrats.
it's not an ad. Yeah, I never knew that. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. We actually didn't have a cap on, and then there was someone who was going to Costco and buying gold bars and doing this gold bar arbitrage, and so we had to put a cap on it. So.
Mev at the Costco.
Exactly.
Maybe we can turn to Gaia. Would love to hear a bit more about Byzantine finance. I know that you guys are sort of more of a layer on top of everything that's happening right now when it comes to the curation of ABSs. So would love to hear a bit more about how the underbelly kind of happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to give more context. Essentially, when we went through Eigenlayer white paper and we saw the opportunity that was coming up with restaking, at the real beginning, what we thought is this is an amazing upselling opportunity for a lot of institutions. But a lot of institutions have also problems that are linked to regulation. So how can they select the ABSs or networks? That means that they need to be able to pick very specific one on which they do due diligence, and they might really need to do native and a few parameters that we made possible so that essentially when an institution come on Byzantine, they can use the infrastructure completely white label or use the front end. They can pass through our curator, or they can just offer the AVS selection, just like how you do on Hyperliquid, to the end user. Or they can, so the multiple ways of going around it and going around the regulatory issues for them to offer restaking to the end user in a compliant way.
That's very interesting. So, like, would you see yourself operating like very much like an index fund where you sort of curate said AVSs, maybe gaming AVSs or Oracle AVSs?
We never take any kind of risk decision for the clients. What I'd say that like a comparison would rather be iShares, right? So we give the tools to BlackRock to actually put together ETFs that then are sold to the public. But yeah, we never take any kind of risk decision.
Very interesting. Maybe I just kind of want to take this panel a bit more towards the fund side. So we're seeing many institutions enter the space. Restaking is still like a little far out of their risk appetite. So a question for Figment, given that y'all have big whales and institutions that work with you, how are you seeing their feedback about specifically restaking? Is that still far out their reach? What needs to be done to get them there? Yep.
Yeah, we spent an inordinate amount of time last year with some of the biggest institutions in crypto and traditional finance talking about restaking, explaining it. To be honest, I think we're all facing a similar problem up here of the ABSs are still not paying rewards. So I think that there's still some healthy skepticism some of these folks have. I think when some of these additional reward streams come online, people are going to get more interested in it. Honestly, I think just as a function of the market with ETH staking rewards rate being so low right now, there are more and more people that are kind of coming back in and are interested in restaking. But I would say that there's a lot of questions that people have, and they're good ones, they're fair ones. When you're depositing into smart contracts and we don't really know how slashing is going to work yet, I don't know if I would put $200 million into that. So education. I think people are like they understand restaking now. For a long time, we had to just diagram, flowchart, talk about high level how it works, the concept of economic security, shared security, pooled security, all that. Now people are comfortable with it, like they at least get it. And now I think it's more about, okay, are we willing to kind of put some of our capital into this? And increasingly, I really do think that the answer is yes. Like I think that you look at the percentage of ETH that's restaked, directionally that number goes higher every time.
So maybe in a year from now, would you see that 10% of these funds would restake?
Yeah, I think it's very reasonable. I think a lot of the crypto native funds already are. I don't think we're going to get a restaked ETF for a little bit, but maybe sooner than we think.
Soon, yeah. So just kind of like sticking to funds, right? And like I want to make a proposal to like not use the word slashing anymore, right? Because it's more like reprimanding, right? Like unless you're double signing, which is a very serious offense, right? Like you're not going to get slashed for downtime. How are you guys doing to sort of educate your client base about slashing? Because obviously when people hear the word, they're like, like I'm not going there.
On our end, what we do is just take a lot of time, be very transparent on how it works, and trying to already run them through how slashing works on staking, because it's not necessarily their bread and butter. So most of the time, they actually need to understand that first. And then there's actually an amazing paper from Affine that they wrote about the probability of slashing given a Black Swan event over a period of validation of 365 days. And it's great, and it's something that really talks to them because it's very clear in the way they deliver the concept of also slashing on different ABSs.
I don't think people want to think about slashing. Like, honestly, they just want to say, oh, I'll put my ETH there and then I get said rewards. And so we communicate where we're at, how we like assess these risks, where we're restaked. We'll continue to do that. But I don't think the normal person wants to actually like know that. They just want to know their money's safe and like what their they're earning accordingly. I mean, it's like a bank. Like most people, when they deposit in a bank into like a savings account, they're not like, they just know they get 1% back or 2% back. They don't know what happens with their funds. That's like the secret, right? I really just think making it safe and secure, and you say what you do, right? We're going to give you 4.3% APY, like just deliver on that and then continue to do it. So I think that that's important. The one thing I'll comment on the ETF stuff as well in institutions. So like crypto institutions are in restaking. There's no question about it. I know for a fact. Because again, I think it's because of the rewards. So that like first and foremost, like it's better rewards, and that's why they're there. I think getting into like Wall Street ETF stuff, like obviously we'll have to have staking first, and then for restaking, there's a lot of duration risk and like liquidity issues. It's like I'll just use Eigenlayer for right now. It takes 14 days to withdraw, and then you're also in the staking queue. It could be up to another 14 days. Like institutions aren't waiting a month to get capital out for 4%. It's just not going to happen. So there's a lot that we need to figure out there, and rewards need to be better. I think a restaking ETF is well out. Let's get a staking one first. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. On how it takes to unstake and unrestake, this is something that Byzantine is working on since a while, on essentially tokenizing the position that liquidify essentially your exit capital.
Rock is being about slashing. Rock is being like humble. They issued a really good article explaining and like trying to put to rest some fears of people. And like Chaos Labs issued an article, and Gauntlet and other firms. Like we are building a bedrock upon we can actually people are educated enough. I agree with that. People just want the money to be safe, but even researchers have a hard time understanding some of the points in there, and slashing is used really widely in the shared security space and restaking and staking in general. Because sometimes it's not even slashing. Sometimes it's just capital reallocation, right? You issued some credits, you got rolled and you get slashed. And it's not because your operator misbehaved. No, because you issued a really risky tranche. So it's actually way more complex than just POS blockchain slashing. Yeah, and sometimes some network requires slashing for straight up inactivity. The small portion, but still just the accumulated rewards. In terms of institutions, I don't think the risks and withdrawal window are the actual blocking factors. You can bypass the lock-in period using Ether.fi as well. You can actually exchange it in or borrow it in now. There are ways. We know how liquid staking works. It's not a new primitive, but for
It is for many people, right? People are just getting around dexes and lending markets. For them, this is
no. You need to graduate school, and then you can trade crypto. That's the norm. So for AMMs were around since 2018, 19, right? You get on board. Liquid staking is real. Yeah,
people don't even know how to use email.
I'm
Graduate school.
I recently I noticed that I can't use email as well. After Telegram and everything else, you're do I scroll who forwarded who? What's the first? What's the second message? No, email is hard. You missed something and just this was the quoted message. This was the forward. This was something else.
Or you send something that you don't want to send, then you can't get it
yeah,
back.
yeah, no, yeah, you can't delete it. How do I unsend it? But yeah, for institutions, I don't think the withdrawal window is something. I hope institutions know what liquid staking is, right? We are getting staked ETFs and everything like that. Yeah, the main problem I feel is that yeah, okay, we're giving 1% on top of Ethereum's 1.5 around that. We'll get more, but the overall problem is that Bitcoin is still more profitable, and you don't have to onboard any risk far from risk of restaking shared security to multiple networks using aligned system of derivatives. Like, holy shit. Like, it sounds complicated, and like Bitcoin still like does nothing for like last 20 years and still goes up. So like the value proposition needs to be improved by a lot. And that's what we're working on. Like on the base layer, that's what we're working on. Like and like we just expanded a narrative because we can now cater to L1s as well. So like the AVS term is even stupider now because like no L1s are actually gonna call themselves that. But like yeah, the fee model and like the actual great networks that can acquire users, hence they can pay rewards. And those rewards are gonna go to stakers and institutions gonna like see the light of day. But they're already like kinda in it, like Rok is right. We just need to like to get more.
So I definitely agree with you that restaking will be a primitive. I think we're definitely getting there, right? Like we started with the mothership, which is ETH. Now we have it on Babylon, BTC, Kernel, BNB, and then et cetera, et cetera. But so a lot of people don't understand that like a lot of the restaking space, and maybe like this is my hypothesis as to why like we're not so open about it to retail on like educating, is because a lot of these deals are also OTC that we do with funds and whales. Maybe kind of turning the question to Ether.fi, given that the yield right now for restaking has gone down, given that we're only relying on Eigen, we have to subsidize with a lot of our own tokens, point systems. How sustainable is that?
We're like very, we have a plan as far as our token emissions and kind of how it goes. And so we're in this seasons thing where, you know, we're dedicating amount of ETH.fi tokens to each season and going to kind of go from there. I do think that like people are impatient in crypto. Restaking, the idea of it, like if Misha and his team can deliver on what they're trying to in 12 months and like rewards are being paid out in 12 months, like at a high level, and people see enough, networks see enough value to do that, like that's a huge win. It's really not that much time. This narrative is like 2 years old, right? And so, you know, we have very short-term focus in crypto, and so the narrative's kind of like passing by, but the actual building that's happening is really, really good. And so it will come back if rewards are 6, 7, 8%, right? I think the only way rewards can go from here is up. And so we're happy to subsidize that in the meantime while the building happens. So, you know, and that's what tokens are used for. And so this is all like a game where we're building this ecosystem and you keep the incentives that keep like passing on. And I guess like if you think about the ETH ecosystem in DeFi, Lido is super important to that in kind of passing it on and getting people in and emitting tokens. Eigen had this like next wave that kind of came up, and now there's a bunch of building happening within restaking. So like let's sustain that for a while as we kind of build this ecosystem out. But again, the biggest thing on this is we got to bring more capital into the space, or it just isn't going to matter. And so like, what are those use cases? But if you tell people they're going to get 7% rewards, like yeah, that's enough to like.
We're back on.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
for sure. So.
And maybe this is kind of what makes this space so competitive, is that we're sort of fighting over the same liquidity providers, right? Like there's not that much fresh ETH that's coming into the ecosystem, which makes the space wildly competitive. So, you know, since restaking has launched, LRTs launched a year ago, we've seen a ton of them. Right now, the dust has kind of settled. There's Ether.fi, us, Renzo, and others to some extent.
Does Renzo still exist? I'm just kidding.
They do. Let's delete that part, maybe. But yeah, they're another fellow competitor. So if somebody was to launch an LRT tomorrow, you have 3 options. Tell them, forget about it, it's never going to work, it's too competitive. If they were to go with it, what is your best advice?
Just use Ether.fi. No, there's a lot of great options out there. I mean, I think that again, it just depends what you're trying to do. I think there's really good options and opportunities for people out there. I think just staking some ETH will get you in the game and start figuring out. That's kind of how I've gone within crypto, is just put like some ETH in, get in the game and figure it out. So yeah, I think Kelp's doing a great job. You guys have been awesome. I kid with Renzo. But again, it's just delivering on what we say we're doing in the space. So often, you know, like we think that we have competitors, and like the real competition is the outside world and bringing more people into crypto, because like if we stay the size we are, it just doesn't matter.
But like, do you feel that like the balance that we've come to right now, where it's like more working directly with funds, whales versus retail? Because I mean, we do both. Obviously, like retail is free to join, but they don't get access to the same yields as you would in an OTC situation. How have you guys been sort of dealing with that balance?
We don't do anything that's like off the cuff. So like what we see out there is what if someone comes in with like massive size, we might give them like a points boost, but there's not like I guess inequity kind of with that. If people want to lever up and get more tokens, they loop on Aave. So yeah, like we haven't played those games on purpose, because like we just don't think it's like overly sustainable. And I actually think we're like with the credit card, we're building something that is very much for retail, and like a
How
real.
has been the adoption with that? Actually, would love to take a minute here and like learn a bit more.
Yeah, so we just launched it on Thursday. I think we have 450 cards that are active right now. There's another couple hundred that are waiting to apply. Rain, who is our bin sponsor, we were the fastest to $100,000 in spend. They say we're on track to be the fastest to $1 million in spend. So I think the feedback I get from people that use it is like it's unbelievable. For those who are looking to stay on chain, it's like it's a huge unlock, because currently you do this dance of like, you know, you spend on your card and then you take money off chain, transfer it to your bank account. So all that stuff's just like done for you now. And you don't have to like put an ETH in Aave and borrow USDC against it to go spend. Like you can just do it.
And
So.
that's a huge advantage for Ether.fi users. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it brings more people into the space. I think that's our goal.
Amazing. I would just kind of love to go around this panel. What is the most controversial opinion that you have about restaking that we would not agree with? Obviously, it's controversial, so that's the question. Yeah.
Restaking might be not about decentralized networks.
I have so many follow-up questions on that, but I guess this is a rapid fire.
Controversial, right?
Yeah. For afterwards, God, what's my most controversial opinion? I think that the volume of tokenized assets or real-world assets could exceed the volume of crypto-native assets restaked in the next 5 years.
And in my opinion, restaking is not a degen or retail product at all, just because I don't believe it will deliver very, very high returns. That is what retail in crypto expects. But I think enough for institutions to be very, very active in it.
Restaking is not dead. I think like the narrative in crypto is that restaking is dead, and I think there will be, and maybe it's 6 months, 12 months, whatever, right? But I think restaking will just be known as staking too. That's what people will do. Everyone will restake their ETH.
I really resonate with that. Why do you think a lot of people, because I mean, like in this space, it's all about narratives, right? And like these sort of like micro narratives are short, right? Like we had AI agents that were like super popular for a month. Like, you know, so I don't think it's dead, but, you know, obviously like ETH has fallen down. That's not something that we can control, but why do you think people say that it's dead? And why is it not dead?
In my opinion, is simply because it's taken some time to be built, and whenever it's not delivered right away, then people start feeling like it's never going to be delivered. But if you think about it, networks, ABSs, all of those are actual companies that need to be built, and you can't really have a company, you know, be built and be maybe profitable in a year or two. So that's why it takes time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that on the subject of short attention spans, so many people in crypto promise so many things that just never happen. How many new protocol teams have you talked to that told you they were going to change the world, and their founders sold all their tokens in secondaries and they kind of fucked off? Like, I can think of probably 10 examples on the top of my head. Restaking is quite real. The technology is quite real. There are a number of elegant new solutions that are getting built on chain that are changing the way we think about economic trust and security. To get to 10% of staked ETH in basically a year and a half, I think is extremely impressive for a network that's as decentralized as Ethereum. This is not going away. This is only going to get bigger. And what I've been saying internally at Figment for a while is like staking is going to get weirder. We kind of just have to get on board with it. Staking is the first on-chain thing that many people will do, and then you get to liquid staking and restaking. It's just inevitable to me that this is where the market continues to move.
We're not the first one trying to deliver that. Like we had Polkadot and Cosmos and like a lot of other things that like yet to materialize. So yeah, of course people are hesitant, and they were like were overhyped by like started from 2023. They expected that we are gonna like cure cancer, but no, like this is useful, but it's not gonna like immediately change everything. What it will do, it's like speed up the innovation, but like innovation still takes time. So like it's like one problem on top of the other. No, it's not like people are saying like everything is dead before like they go into another hype cycle. That's a job to deliver, and like we'll try, right? Yeah, it's not about changing minds. I think the core support base that we have, like it's still there. Like people understand. The people that thought that restaking is like kind of magic tool that like will change everything immediately, those are like unsatisfied, but that's to be expected. When you overhype something, when you overmarket something, when you create like mystic wrapper around any idea, of course you'll have like a wider audience that is dissatisfied. And like with tokens where they are, yeah, if we had like a bull market and like Eigen was worth like, I don't know, 300 and like you guys were worth like 100 bill, right? Like people would be, yeah, you're restaking, but like we like nobody would deliver anything still, but the people would be really excited about the primitive. So yeah, like the sort of down market cycles, they are really nice because you can like focus on building more. You don't have to like ride the waves as hard. And yeah, like I think and like the important part here is that if like we are kind of in like we're infrastructure, that's why like VCs likes us that much, because like in the down market, people need us because like they want to conserve costs and like the longer, let's make their runway longer. Like the actual builders, they want to use us, right? Like they're not as cocky because like it's not up market. And in up market, they want to like go to market faster. So they need us as well, because like we can shorten the actual like time period where they're like coming online and like crushing their opponents. So we're kind of immune to cycles beyond our like own token that might underperform for a while. But like that's like really good position to be for the guys that got funded. I mean,
Yeah, win token.
which token? We are permissionless. We don't need token.
Price drives narrative, right? Like that's the reality in crypto is price drives narrative, and like that's just how it goes. So and Bitcoin is running the world right now, and that's it. Everything's like anti-ETH. I actually think the EF has done some really good things. They're starting to engage with DeFi a lot more. So I'm really bullish on like what's happening. We are a very immature market that is judged publicly with our prices, but we're not the stock market. Like it's these companies have, Coke's been around for 100 plus years or whatever. So it's like, it's just interesting that the market is public, right? Like there's a reason that VC investing and startup investing is illiquid and not publicly traded. Because like if you're to watch your stock price daily on the stuff, it's just like insanity, right? So it's actually a very big challenge, I think, for protocols and builders because of that. Like you see your token price and down, it's like, oh, what's happening? But like take a step back and like look at what you've built and like how quick these things, like the markets are crazy, right? Like that's just crypto markets swing a ton. And so it'll take a while for those to get like more mature, but ultimately why this is out of hype is price drives narrative and prices are down.
These are all amazing answers. My personal take on this is that when the public says that something is dead, it just means that there's no more points programs and now we are sort of maturing, and so it's a little more sophisticated, a little less flashy. But I do see this ecosystem or restaking specifically maturing and then getting new funds in the space once that's within their risk appetite. So great answers. Would love to end this in crypto fashion. Y'all have a 30-second chill moment. Let's start with Brock.
Oh gosh. Go to Ether.fi and get a crypto credit card. I think it's amazing. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. 2 to 3 minutes. You get a Visa credit card, can add it to Apple Pay, go spend anywhere. And yeah, go use it.
Go to Byzantine.fi if you're an institution, if you're building anything, you want to offer a product in restaking. Yeah, happy to chat later.
I think our website is Figment.io. If there's anything you want to stake in crypto, go on there and stake it. And if we don't support it, give me a call and we'll add it.
Yeah, go to Figment like at the bottom and write like, why don't you support Symbiotic yet? But yeah, like if you're an engineer in a core team of L1 that's just building, like contact us. We will help you not to sleep more and to feel better like during the next 6 months when you launch. Yeah, like builders come. Symbiotic is expanding its narrative, and like we only do that like when not because the marketing, but because we actually like can cater to the wider audience right now. Our middleware SDK is going to be out, or it's out already like this week. So see that it can do a lot more, and it's like it caters to L1s and like deeper networks. So you don't have to like be a rollup to benefit or like Oracle network. And all of this are going to be benefit too. So you don't have to write as much code. Everything is ready for you. Just like utilize that. We're permissionless. We don't have politics. We are neutral, and like get on board.
So that should be your slogan: sleep less, trade more.
Yeah. No, like, or you can work on something else at night. Like that's the option as well, always.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the panelists. I had a really great time moderating this panel. We'll be here for at least the next 30 minutes if you guys have any questions, and thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. Emily. Well,
Yeah, come on.
Sorry about that.
I was trying to be the elegant moderator. Okay. But so you can check us out at Kelp DAO. We launched Kernel, which is an infrastructure for restaking on BNB chain. We have around 600 million TVL that we've been able to achieve over the past 4 months. Deposit with Kelp, deposit with Ether.fi, and that's all I have to say. All right.